Hey everyone, welcome back to My Ninja Academy. Today we are going to go through the new forbidden ocular power that Naruto will awaken in the battle against Code. If you would like to see more about Boruto in our channel, please leave your like and subscribe to join our Ninja Academy. So guys, the fight against Code is getting closer and closer, and for this fight, Konoha, the Alliance, and especially Naruto will need everything they have to defeat an enemy of this power. The question is how it will be done. Because as we know, Naruto and Sasuke are no longer the same, especially Naruto, who ended up losing his greatest source of power, and in Kurama's own words, Naruto will never be able to fight the way he fought before because if he tries too hard he'll end his life. That's it guys, Naruto is no longer a superhuman being, even though he's an Uzumaki, so having a lot of physical resistance, he doesn't have Kurama's accelerated healing factor anymore, let alone the overwhelming amount of chakra it granted him, so things will definitely be a lot harder than when he faced his Haki as Jijin and later his Haki in his perfect form. So thinking about it, many people start to raise possibilities for our 7th Hokage to be able to face the Code once and for all, and these possibilities are the most varied possible, and that's what we're going to talk about today. After all, if Naruto showed a total new power to face his Haki, he may as well present us with another power evolution or some new skill. We have to remember that Naruto, in addition to being the king of improvisations, is also the master in surprising us with news. Whether or not Naruto almost always has an ace up his sleeve, and his confidence in wanting to get Code once and for all could really mean that Naruto can show us some new skill. And well, one of those skills that people have been talking about a lot is about his right arm starting to react after so long of use, giving him the ability to finally be able to use Moki. This would undoubtedly be a good upgrade for Naruto, giving him a legendary ability that has been a while since we've seen it last, and it would be interesting to see Naruto using this ability as well as Hashirama, who was also one of Ashura's reincarnations, who also used Mokitan. But that's not all. Maybe if Hashirama's cells in his arm finally activated their potential in Naruto's body, quite possibly he would have returned to such absurd regeneration that Kurama gave. After all, Hashirama's cells give those who resist their dominant effect a regenerative power very powerful. We saw this with Obito and Madara. In fact, we also saw how they were able to save Sasuke's life when Kabuto put them in his body. So for many it's about time these cells make a difference to Naruto too. After all, he is an Uzumaki and they have a direct connection to the Senju, so that would have to have some special effect on him as well. Now still talking about these cells but facing another ability that Naruto currently has, but many believe that it can be improved because of Hashirama's DNA, is his power. Yes guys, a lot of people understand that if Naruto manages to use the conventional Sage mode that he uses from the Toads, but making Hashirama's DNA react to that energy, maybe there's a possibility for Sage mode to evolve into a Sage mode superior, as well as Hashirama's, that to this day we don't know how it was obtained. The idea is to do something similar to what Madara did in the 4th Great Ninja War that he had years ago, after finally reviving and being able to beat Hashirama. Absorbs the Senjutsu of his greatest friend and rival, and with that he manages to control the Senjutsu. But an important detail is that Madara had Hashirama's cells in his body, and we saw how Senjutsu reacted to these cells, giving Hashirama's face that Madara carried on his chest the marks of Hashirama's Sage mode. Guys, that is if Naruto infused Sage chakra into cells like Madara did, maybe it would give him a stronger and more continuous form of Sage mode like Hashirama's. And although I think this is hard to do, I wouldn't doubt anything that Kishimoto would come up with. After all, he never explained Hashirama, and whether or not this would be the perfect way to finally explain why Hashirama has a much more powerful, lasting, and differentiated Sage mode. The crowd's theory suggests that it's Hashirama's DNA that alters Sage mode. So guys, the Hashirama Sage mode is that way because he has a DNA closer to Ashura, and after that he uses Mokitan. And that's why he has such advanced regeneration, and also why his Sage mode is more powerful. Of course this is a fan-made theory, but it's quite interesting. But anyway, now going to the last possibility, and perhaps the most unlikely but that a lot of people believe, is that Naruto will finally awaken some special Dojutsu, like a Rinnegan or something like. Well, that thought is due to Naruto being basically a mix of several things. And so, like his son, the Boruto, who has the Jougen, he would also have the possibility of awakening some hidden and special. Because so guys, the theory is long, but the guys believe that Naruto, for being an Uzumaki who descends from the Senjus, who were descendants of Ashura, who in turn was a descendant of Hage Oromo, and because he was the meeting point of the Baijas, that in theory, together they are the divine tree that for a time was part of Kagaya. By some blood and spiritual following, Naruto would also have what it takes to awaken some differentiated Dojutsu. Of course we know that the part of the Dojutsus were only for the Uchihas and the Hyugas, at least the main Dojutsus, but over time we saw several other types of Dojutsu with other clans, such as the Shinoi clan and its Katsuri-Yugan, which is canonical, and they do not descend from conventional clans. On the contrary, they were even persecuted by the Uchihas in the past. So if others could have that power without necessarily descending directly from the clans that hold their powers and their eyes, and that came from the bloodline of Hage Oromo and Hamura, why couldn't Naruto awaken? Again, I think it's very unlikely, but I confess that it would be very interesting to see Naruto with. Others believe that if Sasuke gives Naruto his DNA, maybe he will awaken a Rinnegan or something like that, as it is not explicitly said that only Hagoromo's ocular part would keep these powers to himself, but as we saw that whether or not only Hagoromo Indra's lineage had some Ijutsu, it's hard to imagine Naruto getting any Eye ability that way. Regardless of the way in which Naruto will use some extra and differentiated power to beat the code, the truth is one, nothing prevents this from happening. It may not be an Eye, or a Super Senjutsu, and not even the Mokitan, but Naruto will still surprise us because he wouldn't be in such a hurry to face an opponent that he knows can beat both him and Sasuke, and even the two of them together. We even saw artificial Eye powers that can be used by Naruto or Sasuke. As the blue Sharingan was very strong, it allowed him to leave any opponent paralyzed, but the bearer was also paralyzed, becoming practically useless during combat. As he was unable to move while using his Genjutsu, he would become vulnerable to other enemies around him. But after Sasuke lost his Rain Sharingan in combat, his will to create a new Eye power or restore Sasuke's, you can come back. Using the blood of the Uchiha lineage and the cells of Hashirama and even the Otsutsuki for this, Orochimaru might be able to create a new Rain Sharingan or just a Rinnegan for Sasuke, but not an ordinary one. He could even create an enhanced Rinnegan, capable of giving Sasuke incredible new abilities and even the ability to immobilize his opponent's bodies, as well as allowing him to utilize the techniques that Nagato used, but with fewer consequences, as the ability to use the attraction and repulsion of objects and living beings, also the technique of being able to absorb any element of chakra, even managing to remove someone's soul. However, as we know, Orochimaru wouldn't create an Eye like that just to help someone. He would have a big plan in mind, which could even consist of getting it implanted in himself so that he becomes much stronger than he already is. Orochimaru's plans are slowly going as he planned. With Mitsuki's evolution, he may want to take the body of his creation for himself, thus managing to use the Snake Sennin transformation. And with the knowledge to create a new Rain Sharingan, he would become incredibly powerful, capable of once again becoming a great villain for history. But this time he wouldn't just covet eternal life. Orochimaru would now want to conquer everything, even get the chakra fruit from the divine tree, so that he would get the power of an Otsutsuki, thus also obtaining his immortality, so that he can discover all the jutsus in the world, becoming a new god of the ninja world. Then finally his life goal would be completed, in which he would become a deity, with vast knowledge and a huge amount of chakra. However, as we know, this is still a distant dream, and it may take a long time for it to happen. Naruto sure has something hidden, and that's what the fandom believes in, but now I want to hear from, will Naruto still present any new abilities when he faces Code? Does he still have the ability to be the #1 ninja in the world of Naruto, or is it finally over? Leave it in the comments section if you think he will still show something in this fight and what you would like it to be. Alright. But just to remember, if you have enjoyed our video, please subscribe to our channel. We will be bringing new Naruto content every week, so don't lose it. Thumbs up please, and keep your ninja way.